Within the last half hour or so, Mayor London Breed conceded the race and congratulated Daniel Lurie on his victory. These are the latest numbers right now. Lurie adding to his lead at about 28% to 25% over Breed. And here's a look at those results after ranked choice tabulations. When all the other candidates are eliminated, Lurie comes away with 56% to Breed's 44%. There are still 143,000 votes to be counted, but political analysts tell us those ballots look like they will stay the way they are, and they're already in. So Breed posted this on X moments ago saying, "Today, I called Daniel Lurie and congratulated him on his victory in this election. Over the coming weeks, my staff and I will work to ensure a smooth transition as he takes on the honor of serving as mayor of San Francisco. I know we are both committed to improving the city that we love." Let's give you a live look at the International Room at San Francisco City Hall. The mayor is expected to speak any minute, and we will bring it to you live. In the meantime, let's bring in Wilson Walker live to break down these newest developments. Wilson, are you surprised that she conceded?
You know, I suppose not, right? You know, I've been kind of looking at the numbers. It looks like we got about 15% of the outstanding vote, you know, based on the numbers that we have from the elections office. And those numbers didn't change at all. Mayor-elect Lurie's lead held solidly there above 56%. There's no indication that these numbers were going to change. I was calling around and asking folks, and no one seemed to think that there was any indication that these numbers were going to change. So, you know, I suppose it was, you know, not much of a surprise. You know, everyone was looking for a shift. You know, I'm looking down and deeper into the numbers, Ryan. You know, you're looking for sort of maybe how this all adds up. I'm noticing that of the Mark Farrell vote, at least 53% of those went over to Mark Lurie. So you can see how sort of the ranked choice part of it adds up. You know, I guess my initial thought upon hearing the mayor, you know, concede the election is that it really has been sort of a London Breed era in San Francisco. London Breed's been the mayor for 6 years, and those just weren't 6 regular years in the city. Anybody who has been here knows that. They were 6 intense years. You know, I asked her about this on the morning of the election, that if she worried that these long 6 years where the city sort of famously, internationally, you know, faced these challenges, if she worried that might hurt her, and I think she kind of acknowledged that it might. You know, that by her own admission, this has been a hard time, and I want to play a little tape for everyone as we think about, you know, the mayor's tenure sort of in an upcoming past tense here. I want to go back to December of 2021 when the mayor announced she had some plans, and she called a press conference on the balcony there in City Hall, probably not more than about 100 feet from where she's going to make this announcement this evening. I want to recall this moment. Have a listen.
And we are past the point where what we see is even remotely acceptable. And it comes to an end when we take the steps to be more aggressive with law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant of all the bullshit that has destroyed our city. We are going to turn this around, and this is the most important thing.
I'll bet everyone remembers that. I was standing on the balcony when she made those comments, and my first impression was, well, that is what her reelection is going to hinge on when this vote finally comes around. Now, remember, we moved the vote, right? It was supposed to be last year. They consolidated the election. So London Breed essentially got another year to make good on the promise that you just heard, that the city was going to turn around. And I think if you ask most people, they would say in the last year or so, that has sort of happened, that maybe 2 years, that the city has improved. I think that's sort of universally acknowledged now. The big question was going to be whether people felt like it had happened enough that it would, you know, save her mayorship. And, you know, and I guess now we know. But when you stand there as the mayor and you admit that a bunch of BS has destroyed the city, you're obviously sort of running against that yourself. Now, we're going to hear from the mayor in a little bit, but just a couple of things before we move on. There is still the balance of power on the legislative end of City Hall on the other side of the building. And what an incredible story developing out in the Richmond and District 1. Take a look at the numbers here. Remember, this is a rematch from the 2020 race when Connie Chan beat Marjan Philauer by 125 votes. Boy, every vote counts, right? Well, here we are 4 years later with round 2 of this match, and it's a tie. It is an absolute tie. The numbers we had on Tuesday night, Marjan Philauer's lead was 35 votes. So in this batch of votes, Connie Shan made up exactly the 35 votes she was down, and we are absolutely deadlocked out in the Richmond. Now let's switch over to District 5. This is sort of the Haight and sort of famously redistricted to include part of the Tenderloin, where Bilal Mahood has stunned people, I would think you could fairly say, by jumping out to a lead over Dean Preston. Now, what is happening as we see the evolving numbers here? He had a 956 vote lead on Tuesday night. Well, his lead has grown. It is now 1,153. So he's picked up 197 votes there on Dean Preston. I was asking people yesterday about the outcome of the election. I don't think anyone was particularly shocked that Daniel Lurie did well. I couldn't find anyone who thought who really thought that Dean Preston was going to be in trouble in that election. We've talked a little bit about the shifting politics in San Francisco, but a Dean Preston defeat, I think, would be certifiably surprising. Even the GROW-SF folks that I talked to yesterday, I don't think were wildly confident that race would go their direction. But, as we've talked about, the city's politics have changed a lot. And I guess tonight we're going to hear from outgoing Mayor London Breed. So that's kind of my initial thoughts from here, Ryan.